Okay, looks like we are live. Okay, at
Yes.
least I am able to see us. So, yes. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our fourth myth that we are busting today, and we are calling the myth facilitators need to come up with the final solution of the session, whichever your session is that you as a facilitator are facilitating. So just to remind you, we've talked about three myths before this. The very first myth being facilitation is only for meetings. The second myth being facilitators must be content experts. Third myth being, and the most interesting one that Rucha and I felt really excited to discuss, was only certified or trained facilitators can facilitate. And this fourth myth, of course, we're going to touch upon a lot of points from past myths that we've covered, but it deserves its special space. So facilitators need to come up with a final solution of the session they are facilitating. And before I say anything more about it, Rucha, I'm going to put it to you. And of course, yeah, let's just say hello too, and just get the party started.
Okay, thank you so much for setting the stage, Sarika. I think that very well also establishes the context. For this particular myth, I feel quite strongly because it's exactly the opposite, that facilitators don't need to come up with the solution. Their job is to get the room or the people to co-create the solution and provide the process, tool, and the environment to do it, but not do it yourself. And I read a very good analogy somewhere. What it said is it's like a facilitator coming up with a solution is like a football match referee deciding who's going to win, and that's not their job. And that kind of nicely phrases and frames it for me.
Indeed, right? So just the way I also said it, if we go back to all the first three myths, going back all the way to the very first myth, when we even talk about the fact that, help two people come up with a solution of a difficult conversation, let's say, and people are fighting with each other. If you're the one facilitating that conversation towards a solution, how do you know the solution? You don't know the solution. So, in simplistic life, if you're a facilitator helping your family to come up with a vacation spot, sure, you must have a bias there, but you will, of course, want the family to decide, right? You're going to help them come up with a solution, but it's not you. So, that's the very first myth where we say facilitation is not just in meetings, right? That myth was busted by saying it's everywhere, right? Practically in daily life and everywhere. The second one, and what was that? We're not content experts, right? So
Yep.
if we are content experts, then of course life is different, but we are not content experts. So how can you anyways have the final solution with you? But yes, you cannot stop people from looking up to you, where my colleague Rogorel and I, we are even doing a session. We are calling it facilitating change when you don't have all the answers. You cannot have all the answers. So sometimes we just want to say to people, we don't know, but let's ask you those powerful questions, right? Our favorite topic, asking powerful questions. So if I ask Rucha back, if she's the one asking Sarika as a facilitator some question, and she's like expecting Sarika to have the answer, and I would say, but tell me, Rucha, what if this was a perspective, you know, maybe I point you to a different perspective, and then Rucha starts thinking, oh, I hadn't thought of that, Sarika. That's a good point. So asking you back a powerful question, and to what you said, getting you to co-create with other people in the room. So I'm transferring the ownership back into the room, right? It's not on me. It's for you in the room, along with others in the room, to move forward. So again, busting the myth by saying that, well, I can't come up with this final solution.
And you brought up a very good point, Sarika. I remember like one of the courses we've created, we talk about powerful questions and we talk about the questions only game. And that's very, very powerful. Like, not just the name suggests, it is indeed very powerful because a lot of times you are not going to have questions like answers. Even forget as a facilitator, but even managers in the world that we live today, even leaders in the world that we live in today, they're never going to be know it all, the kind of dynamics that we are living in. And that is completely fine. And more so for a facilitator, you're not expected. So if you're thrown a question, I think use powerful questions, hold that space, ask a powerful question, and let people think about it. But yes, you need to ask the correct questions. You need to hold that space for people. That's very, very important. Final outcome, yes, there should be some outcome. Like coming back to your holiday analogy, you should decide something. Whether you decide it, that's not necessary. You should get the group to decide it. And that's where your skill, that's where your knowledge as a facilitator lies, not in giving the answer, but getting the answer from people.
Yeah, it also goes back to what we are saying heavily in the book. And Rucha, it's time to promote the book. Come on, let's do that. So it's all in the book, and both of us are always saying we as facilitators create the environment for the answers to emerge. We do not hold the answers themselves because we cannot. No matter which myth you pick, it's just going to get busted because we are only here to nudge the conversation forward by helping you, by guiding the process. We don't own the solution. We don't own the conversation. We only own the environment, which we will create in such a beautiful way. And trust us, it is very tough because we have a lot of human brains and mind and different personalities. But we want to create the environment as facilitators for all of you in the room so that you can come up with the solution because you hold the key to all the answers. We do not. We are enablers to help you emerge with the answer, whatever that answer is. If it's just taking action items, if it is talking to somebody outside the room, we don't know. It's very context dependent. So I would just sum it up with that.
Yep. I think with me as well, I would say leverage the collective wisdom, shape the process, not the answers. That
Awesome.
would be my parting thought.
So that's a wrap. Let's make this myth unstick, but let's make the reverse of the myth, make it stick. People, we'll see you next Tuesday with our final myth for the month. And did you want to say something, Rucha, before
No, no,
I?
is that like a surprise or do we know already what myth we are bursting?
I don't remember. I think we came up with a couple of them. I just didn't even remember. We'll come up with something.
Yep.
Surprise. Yeah. But we'll come up with something. But hey, if you are listening and watching, if you think there is a myth you'd like us to bust next Tuesday, tell us anything by Monday or even by Tuesday. I mean, we just pick it up impromptu
Yeah.
and we start. But we'd like it by Monday because we want to put out a social media post and invite people to come in. So yeah, just let us know by the next Monday. And if you have something really urgent pressing you and you think that's something facilitators do or maybe don't, and you're confused, it's totally okay to be there. We've all been there and we've had our own journeys. So tell us and we will try our best to help you out. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.